Final update. I suspected my wife was planning a divorce, so I moved my assets. 2 weeks later, she filed, but I was. When the calls and texts didn't work, she started spinning stories. I started hearing from mutual friends that she'd been telling people the divorce wasn't real, that it had all been some elaborate prank. A prank? I mean, who would even believe that? It didn't take long for the cracks in her story to show. Friends started asking questions like, if it was a prank, why did you file actual legal paperwork? Or why hire a lawyer and make such specific demands if it wasn't serious? When people didn't immediately buy into the prank excuse, she doubled down. She claimed it wasn't just a joke but a way to test the strength of our relationship. She started painting herself as the victim, saying she was hurt and betrayed by my reaction, that I'd taken things too far and destroyed the trust in our marriage. At first, some people seemed to buy into her stories. I'd get these weird texts or comments from acquaintances saying things like, wow, I didn't realize things were so rough for her. Even her brother lashed out, saying, you should have just talked it out instead of being so drastic. And it was frustrating, but I knew the truth would come out eventually, and it did, thanks to one of our mutual friends. Let's call him Matt. Matt and I weren't super close, but we'd always been friendly. A couple of weeks after the mediation, he messaged me out of the blue, saying he had something I needed to see. When we met up, he pulled out his phone and showed me a string of texts between her and Jake. I was confused at first. How did you even get these? I asked, scrolling through the messages. Matt explained that he had a mutual friend with Jake, someone who had been privy to their conversations. Apparently, this mutual friend had started feeling uneasy about how things were playing out, especially when Jake began bragging about how he was helping her secure her future. It didn't take long for that mutual friend to connect the dots and realize what securing her future actually meant, trying to bleed me dry. Feeling guilty about staying silent, the friend took screenshots of the texts and shared them with Matt, knowing he had a better relationship with me and might be able to warn me. This guy's been playing both sides, Matt said, shaking his head. He's been hyping her up to take you for everything while making her believe he'd be there for her afterward. Matt handed me the texts and said, I thought you should know. You don't deserve this, man. The texts were brutal. She wasn't just venting to Jake about the divorce, she was actively planning her next moves with him, and he was coaching her through it. One of the messages from her said, once the settlement's done, we'll have everything we need. I just need him to agree to the terms. Jake's reply, don't back down. Make him feel guilty if you have to. He owes you. We'll start fresh once you've got the money. I sat there staring at Matt's phone, trying to process what I was reading. This wasn't a misunderstanding or some emotional reaction to a failing marriage. This was cold, calculated manipulation. I thanked Matt, and he left, but my mind was spinning. Everything made sense now, her sudden distance, her obsession with our finances, her aggressive demands in the divorce. It had all been part of a plan, one she'd been working on with Jake behind the scenes. The texts spread quickly among our mutual friends. Matt shared them with a few people, and from there, they made the rounds. Suddenly, her narrative wasn't holding up anymore. People who'd been neutral or even supportive of her started pulling away, and the shift was almost instant. The people who had been defending her or staying on the fence now saw her for who she really was. Even her closest allies started distancing themselves. By the time the divorce was finalized, she had nothing but her personal belongings. Her lawyer quietly dropped her case after realizing there wasn't a legal leg to stand on. All those bold demands had crumbled under the weight of the paperwork I'd prepared, and the trust I'd set up with my mom was untouchable. As for Jake, he seemed to vanish the moment things started unraveling. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd been using her just as much as she'd been using me. From what I could piece together, he'd been feeding her delusions of independence and a fresh start, but the second it became clear she wasn't walking away with anything, he was gone. Without Jake in her corner, her confidence took a nosedive. The calls and texts kept coming, but now they were more desperate. She wasn't accusing me anymore, she was begging. Can we just talk, please? I'll do anything to fix this, one voicemail said. Another, you don't have to forgive me, but can't we just settle this and move on? I'll drop everything if you just talk to me. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The damage was done, and there was no coming back from it. Even her family started to pull away. Her brother reached out to me at one point, apologizing for some of the things he'd said earlier when he believed her side of the story. I didn't know what she was doing to you, he admitted. I'm sorry I ever took her word for it. As for me, I got the house, my savings, and something I hadn't felt in a long time, peace of mind. My mom, as always, was my rock. She came over with buckets of paint and a list of ideas to help me reclaim the space as my own. Now, life feels like it's finally mine again, no more second-guessing every little interaction, no more feeling betrayed. Just peace. She's a chapter in my past, one I don't reread anymore. And as far as I'm concerned, the rest of the story is entirely mine too.